All right, so we're going to take a look at exercise 29 and the SPSS computations involved here. So I'm on page 324 of the workbook, and you'll see a similar table towards the top there. And notice that this table comes from, if you scroll up to the top of page 321, you'll see table 29.1. You'll notice there's three columns that we have here in SPSS, and those three columns can be found in table 29.1, the first three columns there. The last two columns are computations, so they have x squared in that fourth column, and that's just square of x, and then they have xy, which is the product of the second and third columns. So that is not needed because you would only need those if you wanted to do calculations by hand. If you look back at towards on page 321, they showed to compute things by hand. The only reason you need those last two columns. For SPSS, all these computations involving x squared and xy, it's all done in the analysis. So we only need those first three columns, the student ID, and most importantly, the second and third column representing the number of degrees and the month to complete degrees. So anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the computation steps here. So step one, we go to the Analyze menu like usual, and we're going to go to Regression this time and go to Linear. We're interested in doing in linear regression. And so anyways, we will go and we will, they mentioned step two, that we move the predictor, the number of degrees, to the space labeled independence. So the number of degrees to independence. Right there, hit that arrow, move over to the independence spot, and then move the dependent variable, which will be located here. We are going to move the months to grad variable, which is the third column, over to dependent. And there we go. And that's all we really do. We're ready to hit OK, and we'll get all the output needed. We'll just make sure it matches up with what we have on starting on page 325 for the output tables that we see here. Okay, so the first table that we see here on page 325 is this table right here. And as you can see, we have the same, if you check on page 325, we have the same model summary statistics here. So nothing surprising here, as we expect, the same output. As long as you have the same data values here and you go through the same steps, you should get this. Again, as always, go in and look at the interpretations of our output, starting on page 325, and do the practice problems. And then the second table you'll see on page 325 is the ANOVA, the analysis of variance table. And as you can see it's located right here. And then we have on the top of page 326, we have this table right here. Okay, so anyways, there we go. That's how you go about doing this, and that's really all I have to say. And as you will notice, we have our own, the only other additional information is on page 330. We have a different data set used for the questions to be graded. So the data set here, as we see commonly throughout the other exercises that we've seen, we have practice data that I go through here to go, and you use that for the study questions. So use this for the study questions, and then after the study question, then the solutions. And for exercise 29 on page 330, we have a separate table that you'll be using in to do the questions to be graded. So on page 330, Very similarly, they give you x squared and xy columns, the last two columns, which you will not use unless you do the computations by hand, which there's no reason to. So use SPSS and just use those three columns, and use the data that you see on page 330 to, and then do the analysis and do the questions to be graded. Okay. Anyways, if you have any concerns, let me know, and ask away in the questions to instructor forum, and I'll be more than happy to help.